These are the top 5 video games coming out in 2025. Number 5 is Alan Wake 2, which looks like it will be one of the most anticipated games of next year. The original Alan Wake was a unique psychological horror game that didn't rely on jump scares, but instead kept you on edge with its eerie atmosphere and intense story. And now, after 13 years, we're finally getting a sequel. While the first game was more of an action-adventure, the sequel seems to be leaning more into the survival horror genre. The gameplay trailer showed off a much darker and grittier tone, with the player character being hunted through the woods by an unknown entity while being tormented by disturbing visions. What makes this game special is the way the story is told. Instead of the typical linear fashion, the story unfolds through the player's exploration and discovery, giving the narrative a more natural and engaging flow. Reminds me of the great story-driven games like The Last of Us and Uncharted, except with a focus on psychological horror rather than jump scares. But that also means that it won't be as action-packed as those games. So if you're a fan of horror games that make you think and explore, then you'll definitely want to keep an eye on Alan Wake 2. Number 4 is Starfield, a brand new IP from Bethesda Game Studios, the creators of some of the most beloved RPGs of all time, such as The Elder Scrolls and Fallout. It's been in development for over 11 years, so you can bet that this game has been in the works longer than any other title on this list. Because of this, many people have already written the game off as a failure before it even comes out. But considering the studio behind it, I personally don't think that's a fair assessment. With Bethesda games, it's always worth reserving judgment until the game is actually released. Starfield is an ambitious space RPG that takes players on an epic journey across the galaxy. The game promises to offer a vast open world full of exploration and adventure, as well as a deep storyline and tons of side quests. The combat system is also said to be a major highlight of the game, with players having access to a variety of weapons and abilities to take on enemies. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Bethesda games because they usually don't hold my interest for very long. But if you like games with freedom, choice and open worlds, then Starfield might just be the perfect game for you. Number 3 is Stalker II, a highly anticipated sequel to the post-apocalyptic first-person shooter that originally came out back in 2007. Like the original, the sequel is set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which is a vast and dangerous area filled with mutated creatures, dangerous anomalies, and rival factions. Players take on the role of a stalker who ventures into the zone to scavenge for valuable resources and artifacts. What makes the Stalker series unique is its focus on realism and immersion. Unlike other games in the post-apocalyptic genre, Stalker doesn't feature any superpowers or fancy technology. Instead, players must use their wits and scavenging skills to survive in the harsh environment. This game is not for everyone though. If you're looking for a fast-paced action game with a lot of explosions and shooty action, then you might want to steer clear of Stalker 2. However, if you're a fan of immersive sims with a heavy emphasis on exploration and survival, then you'll probably enjoy this game. Number 2 is Assassin's Creed Mirage, the latest installment in Ubisoft's long-running series. Mirage is a direct sequel to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the most recent game set in the popular 9th century setting of the Hidden Ones. It follows Basim ibn Ishaq, a street thief who becomes embroiled in the conflict between the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients in 9th century Baghdad. Compared to recent AC games, Mirage is said to harken back to the series' roots with a greater emphasis on stealth and parkour gameplay over the large-scale battles and RPG elements that defined Origins and Valhalla. Many fans of the series have been asking for this type of return to form for quite some time now, so hopefully Ubisoft delivers. But before we get to number 1, here are 3 honorable mentions that are still worth keeping an eye on. First is Vampire Survivors, which is a roguelike survival mode that pays homage to the classic Castlevania games. Then there's Star Wars Outlaws, which is an open-world action game set in the Star Wars universe. Finally, there's Forza Motorsport, which is the next game in the long-running racing series. And now for number 1. We have The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, the highly anticipated sequel to 2017's The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Not much is known about the game so far, but we do know that it is set to release sometime in 2025. Tears of the Kingdom is shaping up to be one of the most exciting games of next year. The original Breath of the Wild was a critical and commercial success, selling over 26 million copies worldwide and winning numerous Game of the Year awards. One of the best things about Breath of the Wild was its open-ended gameplay. Unlike traditional Zelda games which typically follow a linear path, Breath of the Wild gave players the freedom to explore the world and complete objectives in any order they chose. This freedom allowed for a more immersive and engaging gameplay experience, allowing players to truly feel like they were exploring a living, breathing world. Another standout feature of Breath of the Wild was its beautiful and expansive world. From the snow-capped mountains to the lush forests to the vast deserts, there was always something new to discover. The game also featured a day-night cycle and changing weather patterns, which made each exploration feel unique. Now with Tears of the Kingdom, it's safe to say that Nintendo will continue this formula that made the original so great. At least that's what the gameplay trailer suggests. We see Link exploring a mysterious floating island, fighting new enemies and using his abilities to solve puzzles. There's also a new character named Ganondorf who appears to be the main antagonist of the game. Overall, Tears of the Kingdom is shaping up to be an exciting and highly anticipated game for fans of Zelda, as well as newcomers to the series alike. Now you tell me, what do you think? Are these the best games coming out in 2025? Or are there any games you think should have been included that weren't? Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. What's your all-time favorite video game? Seriously, I want to know. And hey, if you enjoyed this chat, don't forget to hit that like button and follow for more awesome content. Let's keep the gaming conversation going.